Hi everyone, welcome to the first week of this iPhone / iPod / iPad programming course. Today I'm going to introduce you to Xcode and we're going to do some very basic programming. Okay, so as I said, Xcode is the program that you'll be using to do all your coding in. And so if you haven't downloaded Xcode yet, you need to go to the Apple site, developer.apple.com, and go to the iOS Dev Center. Now, before you can download Xcode, you need to become a registered Apple developer. It's free to do that, so just go to register, type in a username, password, and you can register. Once you've registered, then you can go to the downloads section and download the latest version of Xcode, which at this stage is Xcode 4.2. Okay, so assuming that you've downloaded Xcode, we can open it up, and what we want to do is create a new Xcode project. So put your cursor here and select that. Now, Apple has been very kind to us and provided a number of templates that we can use. The one that we're going to focus on is this utility application, and it has two screens and allows us to transition very easily between those two screens. So select utility application and then hit the next button. So we first have to type in a name for our project, and you can call it whatever you want, but we will call it Hello World. And we're going to target the iPhone for this particular application. You can choose iPad or Universal, but in this course we're going to focus on iPhone, so make sure that iPhone is selected. We're not going to use these two or this one here, but make sure that this one is checked. So we want to use automatic reference counting. Hit next, and then it's asking us to choose a place to save the files, and so I will save it in this particular file, week 1, but you can save it on the desktop or wherever you want to save it. Hit the create button. Okay, I'll better save that to another location, to the desktop. Okay, and it's ready to go. Now if we can maximize Xcode, make it bigger. And there's 4 regions to Xcode really. This area here is where the files where you do your coding are placed. Okay, so all of these different files, as you can see here, there is pre-formatted code in there for you. And there's also a number of files that hold your interface, and these are the zip files. So this particular file here, main view controller.zip, is the first screen, and this one is the flip side. Okay, so straight from loading this particular project we can run the application. It's a fully formed project, so if I hit the run button, the Xcode will compile the application and run it in the iPhone simulator. Takes a few seconds for it to come up, and there we go. So this is the iPhone simulator, and this is a utility application which has 2 screens and a button which enables us to go to the second screen, and it has a nice flip transition to it. Click the done button and it goes back again. Okay, so that's what we call a utility application. And as you can see, this flip side here is what we see here. Okay, so to get out of the iOS simulator, choose Quit, and we're back in Xcode. So that's the first view that you saw with the little button there. So this is where the files are kept. This is where you will do the coding or laying out your interface. This is the attributes inspector, where you can select different preferences for things that are usually in this particular view. And finally, you have another little pane down here, which is where you can log calls to the console, and we will get into that at a later stage. Now you can move these panes like this, okay, to make things higher and lower, move them in and out. We can also get rid of them totally by using these buttons here. So if I wanted to get rid of this section here, click that button and then back again. Same with this section here, I can get rid of that. And the same with this section at the bottom, I can get rid of that. Okay. Now, another way of looking at your code and the interface file at the same time is by using this button here, which is the Assistant Editor. Okay, so if I get rid of that and get rid of that, actually I'll bring that back again. So this is the view for the first screen, the main view, and as you can see, there are two other files called main view. One is a .h file and one is a .m file. So each particular screen on the iPhone will have 3 files associated with it. This particular one, called the XIB, where you can lay out your view graphically with buttons and sliders and things. And then this file and this file are the associated files where you can actually write the code. Okay, so this particular way of viewing it lets us view the interface file itself and the associated code. Okay, and it knows when I click on this, it knows that I want to see on this side the associated file, the file that's associated with this particular view. So this view is the main view, so it puts the main view controller .h file on this side. Okay, and that's important because when we start to add buttons and labels to this particular view, we need to connect them up to the code, which you will do in this particular section here. So we're going to do that now. So I'll bring this section back again. And what you'll notice down here is on this particular tab, which is the object library, you will see a whole range of interface elements. So labels, buttons, these multi-tab buttons called segmented controls, text fields where you can type in text, sliders when you have a range of values that you want the user to input, switches which are on, off, progress bars, steppers, all sorts of interface fun. Okay, and to get them into our program, it's just drag and drop. Okay, so if I want a label, just click and drag, and there we have a label. Let go. Okay. Now that we've got that label there, we can change some of its attributes without writing any code whatsoever. So to start with, I can change the color of the label because it's a little bit difficult to see. So the text color, at the moment it's black. Be better in white. Okay. You can see these little handles here. This lets me change the size of the label. And again, all without writing a single line of code. This is left aligned. If I want to center align it, just hit that button there. I could change the size of the text. Okay, make it a bit bigger. I can change the text. At the moment it's label, but I could change that to hello world. Hit the enter button and there's your text. Okay, and if I run this application now in the simulator, I now have a text label with the words that were typed in, and it stays there. Okay, so if you have a static label that never changes, it's very easy to do that just by dragging out a label, typing in the text, and leaving it at that. And we can do that with buttons. Things like these segmented controls. And text label for entering data. And you'll notice that there's these very convenient alignment guides. You see those in blue coming up if you want to align the center of anything or the edges. And we'll have a switch. So if I run this application, so the segmented control works. It doesn't do anything yet, of course, but you get the flipping look to it. So the buttons are selectable. You can use the on-off switch. You can click the buttons. Okay, and even when you click inside a text field, the keyboard automatically pops up, all without having to write a single line of code. And I can type stuff in those. Okay, we haven't written the code to enable the keyboard to go away yet, but we're halfway there. Okay, so I'll just delete these couple. Now, like we did with the hello world, I can just double click on this button and type in a name, title, or clear. You can do the same thing by selecting the button, selecting this tab here, and then typing in a title. Okay. New title. You can make it a bit bigger. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we are going to connect up this label with the code. And the reason we want to do that is when the application launches, we want the text in this label to say something different from hello world. Okay, and how we do that is by creating what's called an IB outlet. It's very easy to create one of these. All you need to do is push the control button and then select the label with your mouse button and then drag into this area here. Now you should put this outlet above where it says IB action. Okay, release the mouse button and the control button and we get this little pop-up window. Now we want an IB outlet. It's called an IB outlet. The IB stands for interface builder, which is what we're using here to construct our interface. Okay, now we need to give this outlet, we need to give this label a name. Okay, it's a UI label. UI simply means user interface label. So let's just call the label my label. You need to leave this as strong and then hit the connect button.